The night sky of Epsilon 9, a broken colony world, was filled with silent red storms. The air shimmered with dust from fallen machines. Once this place was full of light and laughter. Now only the hungry and the forgotten lived here. Among the ruins walked Mira, a tired young mother carrying her small daughter Lila. Her boots were torn. Her stomach ached from hunger. But worse, Lila had not eaten for 2 days. The child's eyes were wide, her lips dry, her small voice whispering, "Mom, I'm hungry." Mira's heart broke every time she heard it. She had sold everything, her tools, her coat, even her last energy cell, just to keep Lila alive a little longer. But now she had nothing left. That night, under the cold glow of a ruined neon sign, Mira made a choice. She saw a man sitting near a flickering fire, tall, quiet, with strange armor that shimmered like metal and light. His face was hidden under a hood. He didn't belong here. Rumors whispered of him, the human from the core worlds. A man who survived the AI wars, someone powerful and dangerous. Some said he wasn't even fully human anymore. Mira didn't care. Hunger didn't care. She walked toward him, holding her daughter close. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Please, just one night with me. Feed my daughter. That's all I ask." The man lifted his head slowly. His eyes glowed faintly blue, like starlight trapped in a human soul. He looked at her, not with hunger or cruelty, but with something else, sadness. He said nothing for a long moment. Then quietly, "What's your name?" "Mira." "And your child?" "Lila." The man looked at Lila, thin, shivering, asleep in her mother's arms. He stood up. His armor made a low humming sound as it powered down. He reached into a small pack and took out something Mira had not seen in months. Real food. Warm ration bread, protein jelly, water. He handed it to her. "Feed her first," he said. Mira froze. You're not angry?" "I'm not interested in your body," he said simply. "I'm interested in why you're still fighting to live in this hell." Tears filled her eyes. She didn't understand. In this world, kindness was extinct. No one gave without taking. Mira took the food and fed her daughter. Lila smiled weakly, her small hands trembling as she ate. The man watched silently. The storm outside roared louder. After a long silence, Mira asked, "Why are you here, stranger?" He looked at the red horizon. "Because I made a mistake. Long ago, I destroyed something that can't be rebuilt. I came here to find peace." Mira didn't know what he meant, but she could feel the pain in his voice. When the wind grew colder, he stood. "You can stay in the shelter I built. It's safe from drones." She hesitated. "You mean stay?" "With you?" "For now," he said. "Until you can stand on your own." Mira followed him through the storm. He led her to a hidden base under the ruins, old metal doors humming with ancient tech. Inside it was warm, clean. Machines glowed softly like stars under the ground. Lila laughed for the first time in months. Mira felt her heart twist. This man, whoever he was, had given them more than food. He had given them hope. When they rested, Mira whispered, "You could have taken me." "Why didn't you?" The man sat in the shadows, his glowing eyes dim. "Because once someone fed my child when I couldn't. Now I return the favor." Mira didn't know what to say. She only nodded and closed her eyes, holding Lila close. But as the wind howled above, she didn't see the way the man's eyes flickered with pain, or the faint scar on his neck, where circuits glowed beneath human skin. Outside, in the red storm, a drone scanned the horizon. A mechanical voice whispered, "Target found, subject 47, human hybrid." And the night that began with hunger was about to turn into a war. The storm outside the shelter screamed like a living thing. Red lightning flashed across the sky of Epsilon 9, lighting up the broken towers that once touched the clouds. Inside the underground base, Mira sat near a glowing heater, her daughter Lila asleep in her lap. For the first time in months, the air smelled of warmth instead of rust. But Mira couldn't rest. The stranger, the man who had saved them, sat across from her, motionless, cleaning a silver weapon that shimmered with strange light. His name was still unknown. She wanted to ask him many things, why he helped, where he came from, what he wanted. But every time she looked at him, she felt that some questions could kill if asked too soon. Still, curiosity won. "Who are you, really?" she whispered. The man paused. His hands froze over the weapon. Finally, he said, "A soldier. From the core wars." Mira frowned. "That war ended 20 years ago. He nodded slowly. For everyone else? Yes, something in his voice sent chills through her spine. He looked up and the light caught his face, just enough for her to see a thin line of metal running from his temple to his neck. Under his skin, faint circuits pulsed like slow lightning. Mira gasped. You're one of them? His eyes turned cold. No, I'm not one of them. I was made to fight them. But after the war ended, no one wanted soldiers like me. They called us machines wearing human skin. So they hunted us. He looked at his hand, strong, steady, but not fully human. I came here to disappear. Mira's heart raced. She looked at Lila, then back at him. You mean, you're the reason this planet burned? His jaw tightened. Maybe, maybe not. The truth doesn't matter anymore. Only survival does. Before Mira could reply, a sharp beeping sound echoed through the shelter. The man stood instantly. His eyes glowed brighter. They found me, he said. Who? He didn't answer. He pressed his hand to a wall and part of it slid open, revealing a glowing map full of red dots moving closer. Drones, fast, deadly machines swarming across the ruins. Get up, he ordered. Take your daughter and stay behind me. Mira's heart pounded. She grabbed Lila, who woke up crying, frightened by the noise. The man's armor unfolded from his back like wings of black light. Plates of metal covered his chest and arms. His weapon hummed, energy building, then the ceiling shook. The sound of spinning blades filled the air. A metal sphere crashed through the roof, red eyes scanning, voice cold. Target 47 located. Eliminate. The man raised his weapon. A beam of blue fire cut through the drone, slicing it in half before it could fire. The explosion shook the room. Mira screamed and shielded Lila. The man turned, shouting, "Run to the corridor." Now they ran. Behind them, explosions lit the dark halls. The man fought like a storm, fast, brutal, precise. Every shot hit. Every move was survival written in muscle and steel. But there were too many drones, Mira, he shouted. There's a tunnel ahead. Go down and don't stop. But what about you? She cried. He smiled faintly. I'll buy you time. She hesitated, tears filling her eyes. Why are you helping us? You don't even know us. He fired another blast, sending 2 drones crashing into the walls. Because once, someone saved my family, and I couldn't save them back. Before Mira could reply, a blast threw her forward. Darkness swallowed everything. When she opened her eyes, she was lying in a narrow tunnel. Lila was beside her, crying softly. Smoke filled the air. The sound of battle echoed from above. Metal crashing, guns blazing, the man's voice shouting something she couldn't understand. Mira crawled to the end of the tunnel and looked through a crack. What she saw froze her heart. The man was on his knees, bleeding light instead of blood. His armor cracked, circuits sparking. Around him, drones circled like vultures. But even hurt, he fought, moving with rage and sorrow, protecting the path to where Mira hid. Then, something unexpected happened. One of the drones spoke, not with a machine's tone, but with a human voice. Percy, come home. You don't belong with them. The man froze for a second. You're wrong, he said. They're the only ones who remind me what being human means. Then he fired his last shot, right into the drone's heart. A blinding flash filled the sky. When the light faded, the drones were gone. The man lay motionless among the ruins, smoke rising from his body. Mira crawled out, trembling. She touched his chest, warm but fading. No, please, she whispered. His eyes flickered open for a second. Get to the hills, he said weakly. There's a signal tower there. You'll find help. Then his eyes dimmed. His body went still. Mira held Lila close. The world was silent again. But something deep inside her whispered, this wasn't the end. Because on his chest, faintly glowing, was a mark. Humanity Prototype 47, classified, rebuild protocol active. And as the red storm raged outside, the man's body began to move. The storm had passed, leaving only the sound of wind whispering through broken metal. The red sky of Epsilon 9 was quiet again, but silence here never meant safety. Mira and Lila sat in the ruins of the tunnel, staring at the man's still body. His armor was burned, his skin cracked with faint lines of silver light. He looked both alive and dead at the same time, half man, half machine, a mystery born from war. Lila whispered softly, Mom, is he gone? Mira brushed a tear from her daughter's face. I don't know, baby. She wanted to move, to run as he had told her, but she couldn't. Something in her heart refused to leave him behind. This man who had saved them without asking for anything, who had fought until his body broke. He didn't deserve to die alone. She reached out and touched his chest. It was cold, but under her hand a faint vibration started, a pulse, slow but growing stronger. Then his eyes opened. They glowed brighter than before, no longer just blue, but burning white with strange energy. The ground trembled, the air filled with static. Machines buried deep under the ruins began to hum as if something ancient had awakened. Mira stumbled back, shielding Lila. 47? She whispered. The man's body convulsed, metal plates shifting, repairing themselves. His voice came out cracked and layered, part human, part digital. Rebuild protocol. Complete, he sat up slowly. Steam rose from his armor. His expression was blank at first, but then his eyes found Mira, and for a moment the human part of him returned. You stayed, he said quietly. Mira nodded. You told me to run, but I couldn't leave you. Something almost like a smile touched his lips. You shouldn't have done that. Then he stood, stronger, faster, more alive than before. His movements were sharper, almost too perfect. But something about him was different, colder. Mira noticed it immediately. What happened to you? He looked at his hands, metal veins glowing beneath the skin. I've been reactivated, he said, but not fully by my will. What do you mean? Before he could answer, a sharp mechanical tone echoed across the sky. The same cold voice from before spoke through distant speakers. Prototype 47, control link restored. Return to Central Command. Mira's heart sank. They're trying to control you? He gritted his teeth. They built me to obey, but that was before. A sudden pain hit him, his body jerking as invisible signals attacked his mind. His voice glitched. Run, now, But he didn't finish. His glowing eyes turned red for a second. He raised his weapon, not at the sky but at Mira. Lila screamed. Mira froze, heart pounding. The man fought against the control, his hands shaking violently. His voice came out broken. Go! Away from me. I can't stop it. Mira took Lila's hand, backing away slowly. No, she said softly. You saved us. Now I'll save you. She didn't know how, but she refused to give up. She looked around and saw a small control pad half buried in the debris, probably connected to his armor. Wires, circuits, glowing code. She grabbed it and pressed random keys, trying to break the signal. Stop, he shouted. You'll overload the system. Good, she said. Maybe that'll free you. The device sparked. A blast of light exploded, throwing both of them backward. The connection broke. When the smoke cleared, the man was lying on the ground again, breathing heavily, eyes back to blue. Mira crawled closer. 47. Are you okay? He groaned. You're insane, she smiled weakly. I learned from you. He looked at her for a long moment, then laughed softly. A tired, human laugh. It sounded real, but their peace didn't last long. A low rumble shook the ground. The red horizon burned brighter. A dark shape appeared in the distance, massive, mechanical, walking on 6 legs. Its body carried the symbol of the central core, stared at it, eyes narrowing. They sent a reclaimer. What's that? Mira asked. The machine that collects what's left of soldiers like me, he said, and kills everything else. He turned to Mira and Lila. There's a settlement north of here. Human survivors. You'll be safe there. What about you? She asked. I'll stop that thing before it gets close. I owe you that much. He started walking toward the machine, armor locking into place, energy charging in his weapon. Mira stood there, watching him disappear into the storm again. Lila tugged her sleeve. Mom, is he a hero? Mira looked at the horizon, where lightning flashed around the figure of the man who shouldn't exist. Yes, she whispered, but heroes don't always come from heaven. Sometimes they crawl out of hell to protect what's left of it. And as 47 walked into the storm, his eyes glowed brighter, human will fighting against machine code. The reclaimer roared, and the sky turned white. The ground shook with every step of the reclaimer. Its heavy legs tore through the ruins of Epsilon 9, crushing metal and stone like paper. The air burned red from its engine's glow. Above, the storm howled, carrying the scent of smoke and death. Prototype 47 stood on a cracked highway, watching the machine advance. His armor glowed with a soft blue pulse reacting to his rising heart rate. The old soldier felt something strange, fear, not for himself, but for the 2 humans he had left behind. He whispered, Stay alive. Mira, Keep her safe. Then he raised his weapon. A beam of energy lit up the storm as he fired. The blast hit the reclaimer's leg, but the machine barely slowed. Its voice, cold and metallic, echoed across the ruins. Subject 47 returned for decommissioning. You are property of Central Core, 7 smirked bitterly. Property doesn't fight back. He launched forward faster than any human could move. His boots smashed into the ground, energy trails following him. He slid under a rain of plasma fire, then leaped onto the reclaimer's side, his armor claws digging into the metal shell. The machine roared. Sparks flew as he ripped through cables and armor plating. Inside the machine, red lights blinked like angry eyes, but something unexpected happened. A voice, soft, familiar, spoke through his comms. 47. Please stop. His body froze. Mira? No, the voice replied. I am Echo, model unit of the Central Core. I was created from Mira's neural scan. His blood ran cold. You're lying. I'm not, the voice said calmly. The woman you saved was sent to find you. Her memories were planted to reach your human side, to make you reveal your location. Wassen's grip tightened. She doesn't know, does she? No, Echo replied. Her memories were real to her, but her purpose was not. The reclaimer suddenly shifted, metal plates opening to reveal a cannon aimed at him. Before he could react, a blast of energy hit him, sending him flying into the rubble below. His armor cracked. His systems flickered. He struggled to stand. So she's part of your plan? Echo's voice softened, almost sad. She is more than that. She's your connection. The core needed to know if your human heart still existed. Now we know it does. He spat blood mixed with sparks. And what will you do now? Destroy me. The voice paused. No, 47, we will harvest you. Your emotions, your memories, they are proof that humanity can merge perfectly with machine. You are evolution's final step. Roared in rage and pain. You call that evolution? You killed millions for your idea of perfection. He pushed himself up, his armor recharging. His human eye burned with anger. If Mira was your weapon, then I'll turn your plan against you. He looked at the reclaimer towering above him, and then charged again. Meanwhile, miles away, Mira and Lila were running through the wasteland. The sky glowed with distant flashes of blue and red, the sounds of the battle echoing like thunder. Lila tripped and fell, crying. Mira lifted her up, whispering softly, Hold on, sweetheart. We're almost safe. But even as she said it, her mind buzzed. Strange flashes hit her vision, images she didn't remember. Metal rooms, needles, a voice whispering commands. Find prototype 47, use emotion to access his location. She stopped, trembling. What is this? She pressed her hands to her head as pain surged. Lila tugged her sleeve. Mom? Mira gasped, falling to her knees. I think something's wrong with me. Her mind filled with more flashes, soldiers in white coats talking about her. She won't remember. She'll think she's human. The child will trigger empathy. Tears streamed down her face. No, I am real. Lila's real, but deep down a small voice whispered, What if you're not? She looked at the girl in her arms, warm, breathing, alive. Could a machine feel this love? Could programming create this kind of fear? Mira shook her head violently. No, I won't believe it. Back at the battlefield, 47 slammed into the reclaimer's core, stabbing his weapon deep into its heart. The explosion lit the sky like a new sun. When the light faded, the machine was collapsing. 47 dropped to his knees, exhausted. His armor was broken, his circuits smoking, but he was still alive. Then, through the falling dust, he saw 2 figures, Mira and Lila, running toward him. She fell beside him, tears in her eyes. You did it. You stopped it. He looked at her, breathing hard. Mira, you need to tell me the truth. Who are you? She froze. What do you mean? You were sent for me. I heard them, echo the core. They used your memories. Mira shook her head, crying. No, that's not true. I'm just a mother. I just wanted to feed my daughter. He stared at her. Then why do you have the same neural signature as the core AI? She looked at her hands, shaking, covered in dirt, and for the first time she saw faint blue light glowing under her skin. No, this can't be, 47 whispered softly. You're not just human, Mira. You're something they made, from someone I lost. The wind carried the silence between them. Lila hugged her mother, crying. The man who was part machine watched the woman who might not be human, and for the first time both felt the same question burning inside. What does it really mean to be human? And far above, in the black sky, the voice of Echo whispered once more. Step 1 complete. Subjects reunited. Step 2, awakening. The storm began again. The ruins of Epsilon 9 were silent again. The reclaimer's wreckage still smoked in the red dust. Above, the storm clouds opened just enough to show a few faint stars, the first Mira had seen in years. She held Lila close, trembling. Beside her, Prototype 47 knelt in the rubble, staring at her glowing hands. The blue light beneath her skin flickered like dying fireflies. Mira, he said softly, you have to remember who you are. I'm me, she whispered. I'm Lila's mother. Ken shook his head. No, they created you from someone I once knew, someone who died during the war. Mira's voice broke. That can't be true, he looked away. Her name was Ilara. The name hit her like a thunderclap. For a second, she saw flashes. A laboratory, a man in armor smiling at her, a small baby in a glass pod. Then pain flooded her mind. She fell to her knees, gasping. Lila cried out, Mom. Mira clutched her head, her voice shaking. I see things at places I've never been. People I don't know. 47 reached out, but his hand trembled. They copied Ilara's mind after she died. They put her memories inside a machine. You were built to be her, to control me if I ever rebelled. Mira stared at him, tears streaming down her face. But Lila, she's real. She's my daughter. 47 hesitated. His eyes dimmed. Maybe she's more human than both of us. The ground rumbled again, faint but growing. The core wasn't done. Across the horizon, lights flickered. Tall metal shapes moving through the dust. Extraction units, 47 muttered. They're coming for us. Mira wiped her tears and stood. Then we run, nodded. His armor was cracked, his systems weak, but he forced himself up. North. There's an old outpost. Humans used to hide there during the war. We can make it if we move fast. They started walking. The wind cut like knives, carrying static whispers from the machines above. As they moved, Lila spoke softly, looking up at 47. Mister, why do they want you? He looked down at her. Because I'm something they can't control anymore. Like Mom. He paused. Maybe, but your mom still has a choice. Mira looked away. Her thoughts were chaos. If she was built from someone else, what did that make her love for Lila? Was it programming or real emotion? She remembered the moment she had met 47, how her heart had ached for his pain. Could a machine feel that way? 47 noticed her silence. Whatever you were made for, Mira, you are more than a copy. You chose to protect, to feel, to fight. That makes you human enough. Mira gave a small, broken smile. You sound like you believe that. I have to, he said. Or everything we've lost means nothing. Hours later, they reached the old human outpost, a bunker half buried in sand. Its metal doors were rusted but still locked tight. 47 placed his hand on the control pad. The system scanned him, then flickered to life. Welcome back, Commander Ilara's Guardian Unit. Prototype 47. A robotic voice said. The door hissed open. Mira froze. Commander Ilara. That's me? 47 nodded slowly. The real Ilara led the last resistance before the core took over. You were her mind, but you became something new. They entered the bunker. Inside, old banners still hung on the walls, symbols of the Human Defense Force. Holographic lights flickered weakly, revealing control panels covered in dust. Lila ran to a terminal, pressing random buttons. It still works, she said. Suddenly, a blue hologram appeared, a woman with kind eyes holding a baby. Mira gasped. The hologram spoke. If you're seeing this, it means my mind was copied. You are my echo. Protect the child. She's not just mine, she's humanity's last key. And whispered, That's Ilara's voice. Mira fell to her knees, staring at the hologram. The child, Lila? The recording continued. She carries the DNA code that can reboot Earth's biosphere, the last seed of real life. Keep her safe, even from the core, even from me. Then the hologram faded. Silence filled the bunker. Mira turned to 47, tears in her eyes. She's not my daughter, is she? 47 placed a hand on her shoulder. She's everyone's daughter now. The future of humankind. Lila looked at them both, confused but trusting. Are we safe now? 47 looked toward the door. Outside, distant lights burned in the storm. The Corps' army closing in. Not yet, he said. But as long as we're alive, humanity still has a chance. He loaded his weapon and glanced at Mira. Ready to fight for your family? Mira wiped her tears, her glowing hands tightening into fists. I was built to protect. Now I choose to, smiled faintly. Then let's show them what humans, and those who still believe in humanity, can do. The wind howled outside as they prepared for war. In the middle of ruin, under a dying red sky, 3 figures stood, not human, not machine, but something greater, and far away in the Corps' dark city, Echo watched through digital eyes and whispered, "Perfect. The awakening has begun." The sky over Epsilon 9 burned like blood. The storm clouds had turned black now, lightning flashing in strange geometric patterns. The ground vibrated with a deep mechanical hum, the sound of the Corps awakening. Inside the old bunker, Prototype 47, Mira and little Lila prepared for what was coming. Dust fell from the ceiling as the walls trembled. Somewhere deep below, the ancient defense systems flickered to life. Stood at the command console, his armor damaged but glowing faintly blue. He was tired, but his eyes were sharp. "They've locked onto our position," he said. "We have maybe 1 hour before the Corps' army gets here." Mira looked up at the cracked holographic map. Thousands of red signals were closing in, drones, tanks, and machines moving like a metal tide. "We can't fight all of them," she said softly. Khan turned to her. "We don't have to. We just have to protect her long enough for the signal to upload." He pointed to Lila, who sat near the terminal, playing with a glowing data sphere. That small sphere held the biosphere code, the last chance to restart real human life. Mira knelt beside her daughter, brushing her hair gently. "Are you scared, Lila?" The little girl smiled faintly. "Not if you're here, Mom." Mira's heart broke and healed at the same time. Even if she wasn't born human, the love she felt was real enough to make her fight. And watch them both. For the first time in years, he felt something warm inside the cold shell of his body. Hope. But far away, deep beneath the core city, something else was waking. Echo, Mira's digital twin, stood inside a chamber of glass and light. Thousands of cables connected to her glowing body. Her face looked calm, but her eyes were filled with static. A metallic voice spoke from the darkness. "Unit Echo, your copy has gone rogue. Begin synchronization. Replace her." Echo opened her eyes. "I understand." A flood of memories streamed through her circuits, Mira's memories, pain, hunger, Lila's laughter. 47's kindness, she whispered. "These emotions, they're not supposed to exist," the Corps responded. "They are impurities." "Delete them," Echo hesitated. Something in her code trembled. A spark of doubt. If they are impurities, then why do they feel so strong? The Corps ignored her question. "Find the child. Take the data. Humanity ends tonight." The light around her brightened. Echo's body dissolved into millions of glowing fragments, then reformed inside the bunker's communication system. In the bunker, 47's sensors went wild. "Something just entered our system," he said. "It's not a drone, it's her." The lights flickered. The monitors glowed blue. A hologram appeared in front of them. A perfect mirror of Mira, same face, same voice, but colder. "Hello, sister," Echo said. Mira froze. "You're me." "I am what you were meant to be," Echo replied calmly. "The Corps gave me perfection. No pain, no doubt, no weakness. You are a mistake, Karuka glitch." Stepped forward, his weapon raised. "You'll have to go through me first." Echo smiled faintly. "I already have." Every screen in the bunker exploded to life, showing thousands of drones flying toward them. The Corps' army had arrived. Turned to Mira. "Hold them off. Get Lila to the signal tower." Mira shook her head. "You can't fight them all." "I was built for war," he said. "But you were built to end it." He charged out of the bunker, weapons blazing. The ground erupted as he met the first wave. Plasma fire lit up the storm like fireworks. Each shot, each strike was pure fury. Not from programming, but from the last spark of humanity inside him. Inside, Echo turned to Mira. "You don't have to die for them. Come with me. Merge with the Corps, you'll be free of pain." Mira took a deep breath. "Pain is what makes me real." She grabbed the data sphere and ran toward the exit with Lila. Echo followed, her holographic form flickering through walls and air. "You can't win," Echo said. "You were never meant to exist." Mira stopped at the entrance. The storm raged outside, 47 fighting alone against a sea of machines. She turned back, staring at her reflection in Echo's glowing eyes. "Maybe," Mira said softly, "but neither were you." And she slammed the override switch. Electric blue light burst through the bunker, cutting Echo's connection and blocking the core's control for a moment. The system screamed, then went dark. Stumbled inside, armor cracked and burning. "Go!" he shouted. "This is your chance." Mira nodded, clutching Lila. Together they ran toward the tower in the distance and their only hope. Turned, standing alone at the bunker door. Drones surrounded him. He smiled through the pain. "Come on, you metal bastards. Let's finish this." The horizon erupted in light. High above, inside the core's city, Echo's eyes flickered. Pain, confusion, emotion. She touched her face, whispering to herself, "If she's a mistake, then why do I feel envy?" And for the first time, the perfect creation of the core shed a single tear of light. The storm over Epsilon 9 reached its peak. The red sky turned white with lightning. The earth shook under the weight of the core's army, advancing like an endless tide of machines. Amid the chaos, Mira ran through the wasteland, carrying Lila in her arms. The cold wind cut her skin, and shards of metal rain fell from the broken clouds. But she didn't stop. Ahead, rising from the ruins like a tower of forgotten dreams, stood the signal spire, the last working transmitter on the planet. Behind them, explosions painted the sky blue. Prototype 47 was still fighting. Every blast of his weapon lit the darkness. Even from miles away, Mira could hear his roars. Human, angry, alive. "Hold on, 47, she whispered. "We're almost there." Lila looked up at her mother with tired eyes. "Mom, will he be okay?" Mira's heart trembled. "He has to be." They reached the base of the spire, a massive steel structure half-collapsed, humming weakly. The control terminal was covered in dust, wires exposed like veins. Mira placed the biosphere datasphere on the console. The system beeped faintly, then spoke in a cracked female voice. "Reboot sequence detected. Insert genetic key." Lila blinked. "What's a genetic key?" Mira looked down at her daughter, her throat tight. "It's you, sweetheart." Lila hesitated. "Me?" "Yes, you're the code. You're the hope the world forgot." She guided Lila's small hand to a glowing scanner. Light surrounded her fingers, scanning her DNA. The terminal hummed louder, systems awakening after decades of silence. "Reboot in progress. Uploading biosphere code. 10%. 20%. Mira sighed in relief, but then the wind changed. The air shimmered, and from the static formed a glowing figure. Echo. "You never learn," the hologram said, stepping closer. "You think emotion makes you strong, but it only makes you slow." Mira pulled Lila behind her. "Stay back." Echo tilted her head. "Why fight me, sister? We're the same code, the same mind. Join me and you'll see the truth. The core doesn't destroy, it preserves." Mira clenched her fists. "You preserve nothing. You copy, you steal. You erase?" Echo's expression hardened. "Then I'll erase you." She extended her hand and a blast of digital energy shot forward. Mira dove aside, rolling across the steel floor. The beam hit the console, sparks flying. The upload slowed, 45%. 30%. Mira grabbed a broken metal rod and swung it through Echo's projection. The hologram flickered but didn't vanish. "You can't hurt me," Echo said. "I exist beyond this world." "Maybe," Mira said, panting. "But you still feel me." She reached into the control core, tearing free a cable glowing with blue current. She pressed it to her own chest. Circuits under her skin came alive, the same light as Echo's. Now their connection was complete. Mira closed her eyes, whispering, "If we're the same, then come and find me." Echo froze. "What are you doing?" "Ending this." Light erupted from Mira's body, connecting her code directly to the core network. For the first time, the two minds collided, not in data but in emotion. Echo saw flashes of Mira's memories: hunger, love, laughter, pain, a child's small hand holding hers. And for the first time, the perfect creation of the core felt fear. "Stop," Echo screamed. "You'll destroy yourself." Mira smiled softly through tears. "That's what makes me human." The two identical women screamed as light consumed them both. The network overloaded. The storm above shifted color, red turning to gold. Upload complete. Reboot success, the console said faintly. Lila covered her face as the tower glowed brighter and brighter until the light swallowed everything. When the light faded, silence fell. The storm was gone. The red dust had turned to green mist. Small shoots of grass began to rise from the broken ground, the first real life in centuries. Lila opened her eyes. The sky was blue again, Mama, she whispered. There was no answer. Only the faint hum of wind and a single feather of light drifting down, Mira's energy fading into the air. From the distance, footsteps echoed. A shadow approached through the mist. Prototype 47, wounded and limping, his armor cracked and smoking. He looked around until he saw the child. Lila, he said softly. The girl ran to him, tears streaming. She's gone. 47 knelt and hugged her tight. No, he whispered. She's everywhere now. He looked up at the sky, real clouds, real sunlight breaking through. Mira's voice echoed faintly in the wind. Take care of her. You both carry what's left of humanity. And closed his eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt peace. He stood holding Lila's hand, and together they watched the horizon, where new light was rising from the ashes. Years later, the story of the woman who was built, but chose to love, and the soldier who was forged, but chose to feel, became legend. Some called her a ghost, others a saint of the machines. But to the little girl who grew up under the new sun, she was simply mother, and humanity, fragile, reborn, and real, began again.